You know, I've been hearing the same thing from so many people lately. They'll say work just feels different. And they're right. It does feel different. AI is moving fast, teams are getting leaner than ever, and the pressure just keeps building. The old career playbook, the one that told us to stick with one company, one path, one paycheck, doesn't really fit anymore. That system was built for a world that's dissolving beneath us. And I should know, I spent about 20 years inside that world, leading teams, climbing ladders, chasing all the promotions. On paper, it looked great. But eventually, I hit the point where I just couldn't keep doing it. And like most people, I still needed income. And I actually still wanted to work. So walking away completely wasn't an option. So this is where I started experimenting, testing new ways to work that actually gave me energy and it paid the bills. I'm not going to lie, it took a while. There were consulting gigs, side projects, late nights, and a lot of trial and error. But over time, I built something that worked, not just financially, but energetically. And what came out of this wasn't just a side hustle, it was a completely different way of working. It was a portfolio career. And today, I want to talk to you about why this isn't just an option for people who are in transition, burned out. It's fast becoming the way forward for so many of us. And you know how I said that old career ladder doesn't really exist anymore? Well, what's replacing it looks a lot like a Hollywood film set. Projects come together fast, the right people jump in, everyone brings their bit of expertise, and when it's done, they wrap up and move on to the next thing that fits them. That's what I mean by Hollywood model. Companies have shifted from hiring for loyalty to moving to hiring for mastery and impact. And if you look around, it's happening everywhere. Fractional CMOs, interim CEOs, growth consultants brought in for 90-day sprints. Companies don't want more headcount. They're bringing in the right minds for the right moment. Even industries you'd never expect are moving this way. The Business of Fashion recently reported that some of the biggest fashion houses are now hiring part-time executives to help guide strategy and growth. Senior talent, but on flexible terms. And look, it makes sense. Companies get access to expertise without locking themselves into long-term contracts. And those leaders get to design their careers that actually fit their lives and their energy. We used to join companies for decades. Now it's kind of flipped. Companies join us for projects. That's what it's really all about. Us having agency, more say in how we work, what we work on, and who we do work with. For years, this idea was kind of seen as a bit flaky, like you were stepping off the right path or you'd lost your ambition, or what most of us women come up against, that we just couldn't handle the whole corporate thing. If we're being real, the bigger risk is now putting all your trust in one income and one company. That's no longer stable. And clearly, a lot of people are waking up to this. McKinsey recently found that more than a third of the workforce across the UK and US are already earning outside their traditional employment. And the interesting part is most of them didn't fall into it or were pushed into it. They chose that way of working because they wanted more control and more space to work in a way that actually fits their life, not the other way around. And having agency doesn't mean winging it either. It's quite the opposite. It's not about quitting your job, blowing up your life and hoping something works out. It's about building a rhythm that actually works for you. You start deciding when you work, what you say yes to, and what you walk away from. You start structuring your time, your projects, your energy around what feels right and fits you. And yes, it takes some thought, it takes some planning, and it's not always perfect. But once you start operating in this way, you realize this isn't risky at all. What it is smart and sustainable. That's what agency really is. Not freedom for the sake of it, but freedom with intention behind it. And then the next question becomes, where's your energy actually going? Where are you putting your energy towards? Because that's the thing that drives everything else. So let's do a quick exercise. I want you to write down all the ways you made money in the past year. This could be your core job, a side project, a contract, whatever comes to mind. Next to each, write down one word. Was it energizing, neutral, or draining? Now I want you to look at what you've got. If most of your income comes from things that drain you, you're not just tired, you're limiting your potential. Because when your energy is low, your creativity drops, your confidence drops, and you start saying yes to the wrong types of work. You undercharge and you shrink and play small. But when you're doing work that gives you energy, everything expands. You show up differently. You attract better opportunities. You make sharper decisions. And let's be honest, you make more money. So this isn't about walking away from income. It's about earning in a way that fuels you rather than empties you, which is a totally different paradigm to what we've been taught. And once you start to see what gives you energy versus what drains it, that's when you can start to design your mix of work around it. And that's what a portfolio really is. It's not about chaos or all of these passive income streams. It's a way of working that's built around how you actually thrive. And I know that when people hear portfolio career, they usually imagine one of two extremes. Either total chaos, juggling 10 projects and no downtime, or that dreamy make money while you sleep thing that you see online. And I'm sorry, but neither of those are true. A real portfolio career has structure and intention. It's about using what you already know and turning it into a mix of work that fits you. This isn't an overnight job. There will be experiments, some hits and misses, but over time, the pieces will start to fit together and your version will look different to everyone else's. Maybe you keep a part-time corporate role and build something on the side. Maybe you take a short-term advisory project and work across multiple clients. Or maybe you create something of your own. And to be clear, I'm not promoting hustle culture here. This isn't about chasing endless income streams and doing more. It's about creating that mix that gives you energy, purpose, and stability. So you're not betting everything on one employer or one idea. When I started working in this way, I felt something I'd never felt in my career. Ownership over my time and energy. My work fit around my life, not the other way around. And that's what a portfolio career really gives you. Again, not chaos, not fantasy, just a way of working that works for you. So if you're still listening, you might be thinking, okay, great, I get it, but where do I actually start? And you start where most of us do, by experimenting, trying things, saying yes to a few opportunities, even if they're not perfect, just to see how they feel. At the beginning of anything, it's rarely clear. It's a bit uncomfortable because you're not following a map anymore. And this is where the learning happens. You're collecting data on yourself, how you like to work, when you have energy, and what kind of projects make you feel alive. And slowly, you'll start to see patterns. You'll notice that some work just makes you feel light and you leave energized, and other work makes you feel heavy, even if it looks fantastic on paper. They're all your clues. From there, it's about shaping your mix around those clues. Not chasing 10 new ideas at once, but refining what already works. Protecting the projects and clients and work rhythms that feel right and saying no to what doesn't. Then comes the part that most people skip, stabilizing. Putting a bit of structure behind the freedom, creating routines, boundaries, or systems that make this way of working sustainable. Because let me tell you, freedom without a framework just becomes a lot of noise. And once that foundation is steady, you can start to expand. Take on collaborations, bigger projects, or even new income streams without it feeling like it's unmanageable. So I don't want you to think of this as a single leap from corporate life to portfolio career. Think of it as a cycle. You experiment, shape, stabilize, expand, and then repeat. Each time you go through this cycle, you'll get sharper, clearer, and more aligned. And before you know it, you've built a career that fits you, not the other way around. Most of us build our careers by default. We follow the rules, tick the boxes, and then one day realize it just doesn't fit anymore. But the world of work has changed, and that means we get to change too. And for me, this has transformed how I work. I stopped chasing titles and started building a body of work that felt like me. And that's the real opportunity here. We need to wait for permission. We're not climbing ladders someone else built. We're designing something of our own that's sustainable, flexible, and alive. So if you've been feeling this quiet nudge that there has to be another way, my offer is this might be it. You don't need to blow up your career. You just need to start redesigning it around who you are now and who you're becoming next. Because the future of work isn't linear anymore. It's portfolio shaped.